Okay, sure. My name is Jerry Saddleback, or Gumagi Skoin, as I'm more popularly known within our own community. We kind of, some of the older guys especially, they address me more from my name. So it means Chief Skyby in our language. So that's my name, and I'm from Muscatchees. It's born and raised there. So, but now I reside momentarily, I guess, in Edmonton, and this is our art studio, I guess you want to call it, art shop, art store. The city itself here in Edmonton, we call it Amsquatchie-Waskai Kanig. Amsquatchie-Waskai. When you break that word down, Amisk is the beaver, Wachiu is a hill, and Waskai is a house, Beaver Hill House. This area of Treaty 6, you've probably seen it in the maps of the treaty areas throughout Canada. The Treaty 6 area itself, covers quite a bit of Alberta and Saskatchewan, and it's made up of it was previously even made up of more, but I guess the people that actually stayed, the nations, were the Dene, which is from your family. I think, we had different types of names for the Dene. Like one of them was Chipwan, like I guess you could say the pointed pelt people. They used to have these pointed boards, that they made, and they're wolf hides and things like that. They put them in like that to dry them up and do them really smooth from the inside of it, flushing and stuff like that, and stretch them. And they would come up with the deadliest pelts, the really beautiful pelts. So they named them after the master craftsmen that they were. So that's kind of like pointed pelts, kind of like they were the ones that were masters of that craft. So that's what they named them, Otsipano. And there was also the other nation. There was Stony Nakota, which is up in towards this kind of like towards the mountain area. They're all kind of divided by with then it's kind of more about northwest and northeast, and then northwest would be the Nakota, Stony Nakota, and then of course there's Cree up there too, with some Woodlands Cree. Mainly Woodlands Cree would be the Treaty 8 area, but the Plains Cree, of course, they'd be Plains Cree up that way too. Kind of a mixed bag of all tribes, but they're kind of centralized in massive areas. Like within this entire, like the central part of it was the Plains Cree, and then kind of to the southwestern part of that would be the Soto. It would be kind of like Soto / Ojibwe, that kind of thing, and Stony / Nakota, because they're part of like a Siouan, like the Sioux language speaking nation too. And so, and then then we would say Chippewan / Dene kind of thing, And so with us, with this Plains Cree, or Nehiawak, we called ourselves, and all of us were predominantly Plains people. And then again too, way back when, further back, we also had different neighbors from the south that we bartered and trade with, and as far as we were concerned, this was their area too, like the Blackfoot. We were, there are stories that it kind of leaked out where there was kind of stories where they were saying, oh, the Blackfoots hate Crees and Crees hate Blackfoot kind of thing. And it wasn't really like that, because the older generation of elders that I interviewed within the entire Treaty 6 area, the Treaty 6 chiefs Confederacy of Treaty 6 chiefs wanted me to go around and interview the older elders of the actual 1876 Treaty of Treaty 6. Other than that, all in all, everybody lived harmoniously with each other. It shows, it proves within the language, and even our history of creation story within our Plains Cree is so vast, using stabilized systems of orality, whatever you're looking at, whether it's etymologies or whatever, or just even the recited version of that story. It encompasses all that in there. So. Our people, firsthand, they seen for themselves when they visit all these different nations, tribes of indigenous island. They were eco-specialists within their own territorial zones, and so they had a treaty prior to contact, and it was based on one single principle, and that treaty was the Creator made everything perfect. Let's leave it as is.
So my name is Buffalo Trail Woman, Inuksugaki, and the name Inuksugaki was gifted to me in ceremony by my ceremonial father, and his name is Unastayakoppi, or Chief Moon, and his wife Natukutsikitstakyaki, or Karen Russell. And they gifted me the name to signify a time of growth in my own life, after kind of watching me for a period of time. And so both in the Western world knowledge and in our indigenous ways of knowing knowledge. As a knowledge keeper, they gifted me the name. And prior to that, my name was Estanskiaki, which means coming singer woman. And my father gifted me that name after my grandfather had a vision of a woman coming towards him with a drum, singing, and he said that when I'm an older person that I would be a leader. And so those are my names. I do have a childhood name as well, but my my parents were Salmon-Sinskiaki and Istquit-Buyop, so Stella Crazybull and Mike Steele. And when I was a child, my parents, they were taking care of my grandparents, my paternal grandparents, my dad's parents, and his parents' names were Saksakyaks and Larry Plume and Mutsisapapistatsaki Minnie Plume or Steele. And they were in their 90s and they spoke in fluent Blackfoot. And so a lot of the knowledge that I hold today is just by way of living the ways of the Blackfoot people. Once you start seeking knowledge from our people, sabuchtsis is what it's called, is like you're asking in the right way. Our people will say it's almost like a key, like you go to a door and you don't have the key, and you go to try to open the door, you don't have the key, and then but if you give tobacco, you do have the key, and then you open up the knowledge of the individual that you're speaking to. And then so they'll be be more gracious with you, and then everything will go the right way. Especially when we ask Spirit, because the places that you're trying to map out here, or that you are mapping out here, are really powerful places, and they hold Spirit. And when we, like even here, there's places here, like I know when you come here in Napiquakes, they'll acknowledge a certain, they'll acknowledge that this is the traditional territory of the Treaty 6 people. But when you say that, you're really you're connecting that treaty to, that history started at Treaty 6 and then it continues from there. But that's not where the history started.
Okay, so I'm Martin Heavyhead. So one of the things that that's asked is if you own this land, or if you claim this land, then where are your stories? Within the Blackfoot legends and all of that, we've named all the land. Every hill, every mountain, every river, every coulee and hill is named. And throughout Blackfoot territory. And there's, I don't know all the stories, I know some of them, but there was a story about somebody killing a giant, and when the giant was killed, the body parts were thrown all over the place. So that's why out here, just southwest of here, are the Belly Buttes, and that's where the belly was left. The mountains are the ribs, and of course Calgary is the elbow, and Nose Hill is the nose, so it's just nose. So we call it Mochkasis, and that's pretty well the story. There's another place, I think Vulcan is called Mutuksis or Ni. So that might be part of that story. And then there'd be other places. So that's Ukkutuk. Yeah, there's no S at the end, and it's just the rock. Not Dwayne, what's his name? Dwayne Johnson. So, but that comes from the story of Napi with the rock. So, Ukkutuk is the rock. So it's Blackfoot place names are very straightforward. My cousin and I were driving around on the reserve, and we came to a place where there was some pine trees, and if you go out on the reserve, there's not very many pine trees because it's out in the prairie and so that. But we were on the St. Mary's, and there was pine trees around, and we looked over he said, look over the cliff. Looked over the cliff, and there were bones sticking out, buffalo bones. And he said, do you have any idea of this, of the name of this place? I said, I have no idea. He says, well, it's Pine Buffalo Jump. So there's pine trees and there's a buffalo jump. Now, if you go to Spring Coulee and you turn towards the dam, there's there's a coulee there, and it's called Pine Pound Coulee, because another name for buffalo jumps is pound. Somebody started calling them pounds. I don't know why, but they called them pounds, and so that coulee goes into the same areas right across from where the pine buffalo jump would be. And then just further north of there, along the river, we were out hunting and we parked, and there was a little coulee there, and it had a very tall pine tree in the coulee. So he said, what do you think the name of that coulee is? I said, I have no idea. And he said, it's Lone Pine Coulee. So there's all these names, and they're just kind of, well, what you see is what you get. Kind of. So. And of course, we don't know 100% about our history, we certainly lost a lot of knowledge during the time of the epidemics. And then we lost a lot of knowledge because of the residential school era. Our grandfathers weren't allowed to transfer their information to us. And so a lot of information has been lost, but we still retain a lot of it. But the next idea of you not only repatriate physical things like bundles and pipes and that, but you can also repatriate your knowledge, put it back in the rightful hands. You can repatriate the land. You can repatriate your territory.
I grew up like away, like up here.
Yeah.
In central Alberta.
Yeah.
Like Cameron, Strathmore, Caroline, Red Deer. So whenever people ask me where I'm from, I just say like Kainai.
Mm-hmm.
And like yeah, my grandma's from originally from Fort Chip.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that, but like there's like a lot more
Yeah.
than that. Like it's like foster care, residential schools, like it has like brought us to like all these different places. So yeah, could you like say where are you from in Blackfoot?
TSIMA KOHTOTSITAPIIHPA. So, where are you? Yeah, where are you from? Yeah. Yeah. And then you could say KOHTOTSITAPIIHPA, and then and that's in response to it. So you're saying I am from, and then you could be from like what you just described, KOHTOTSITAPIIHPA, and then you're from Fort Chip, and you're from all the places that you described, and then And then I'm Nuhtutstapihkan, or Nuhtutstapih Crazybull family, and whatever you belong to